you. Hello everybody, welcome to Writers at Work online TikTok lessons. I'm teacher Nathan, and today we'll be looking at Primary 5 end of year exams from Red Swastika Primary School. Let's start with grammar first. Question 1 goes, I care dash my grandparents' health by ensuring that they take their medicine daily. Over here, we're interested in tenses. We are interested in prepositions. So next, we need to look at some keywords. You care, and they elaborate here that you are very concerned about your grandparents' health. All right. So let's take a look at some of the options available. First one is you care. You can care for. This shows elaboration. Next, you have care. You have a with. With is to show something is complementary to one another. Next, we have over. Over is used to show height. And lastly, we have after. After is used to show a time period. So we can say after lunch. For over, it can be the plane flew over the building. So we are looking at this specific height the plane is flying at, which is it must be taller than the building. With is used to show two things are together. Brother went to the clinic with sister. That means two of them are doing the same activity. Lastly, for is used for elaboration. So in this case, you care about something. And what is that thing? Your grandparents' health. So it is a form of elaboration here. As such, we will say, I care for my grandparents' health. Okay? Therefore, my answer is number 1. Moving on, we have question 2. Dash team does not know how to rollerblade. He cannot take part in the competition. Over here, we are interested in conjunctions, which are your linking words. Okay? First, we have since. Since over here is used to show reason. Since it was raining yesterday, I could not go down for a run. While is used to show concurrent activity. While brother was doing his homework, sister was sleeping. Okay? Unless over here shows criteria. Unless you bring your passport, you cannot fly overseas. Although it's used to show contrast. Although he was ill, Mike still took part in the race. Okay, so let's take a look at the keywords. Tim does not know how to rollerblade. He cannot take part in the competition. So over here we can see a very clear cause and effect. My cause is he don't know how to rollerblade. So as a result, he cannot take part in the competition. And this cause is also like your reason for this outcome, which is your effect. So in this case, we will use since, okay, which is used to link my cause and my effect, or my reason as well as my outcome together. Okay, therefore my answer is number 1. Okay, so good job, Renice and Jen. Okay, I understand some of our friends here have our examinations tomorrow. So I think you can just take this afternoon session as a good revision before you go for your exams. And if you have any questions regarding your English paper, please feel free to type them in the comment section and we'll answer them as we go along. Moving on. The team of scientists dash to come up with a cure for COVID-19 within the next year. Over here, we're interested in tenses. Now, we do have some keywords. The first is within the next year. So it tells you that this is a future event. The next thing we need to check on is team of scientists. So over here, we are looking at this one team. So it will be singular. Okay. So let's take a look at the options given. Hope here is present tense and is for plural. Hopes with an S is for present tense and singular. Next, we also have hoped, which is in the past tense, and hoping, which is in the continuous tense. Continuous tense means that your action is ongoing as you speak. Okay? So with this in mind, with the two clues in mind, your singular now here, as well as the fact that this is a future event, we will look at your present tense because of the future event, and because it's singular, we just look at singular. Okay, as such, my answer for question 3 will be option number 2. Okay. Yes, Michelle LST, this is for primary school. This is primary 5 end of year exam for red swastika. Okay. Moving on. Question 4 goes. Julia caught her brother dash out of the house when she was about to enter her room. Again, we are interested in tenses. Next, we are looking at some keywords. Okay, so the first one that we are interested in is caught. So this is in past tense. And there is also an element of sight. How do you catch somebody? You use your eyes to see him do something. Next, when she was. So over here, we need to take note of the tense, which is past tense. Okay. With that in mind, let's take a look at the options given. Sneaks here is present tense and singular. Sneaked with an ed is in past tense. We also have sneaking, which is in the continuous tense. This means that my action is ongoing as I speak. Lastly, we have had sneaked, which is in the past perfect tense. Past perfect tense means that one action occurred before second action took place. Okay? So some of our friends may be very quick to identify. Since everything is in past tense, I will just go with number 2. Okay? But we need to be aware of this rule called the verbs of perception. This means that in my sentence, when there are 2 verbs, and my first verb has something to do with your sight, your second verb must be either in the base form or the ing form. Okay? As such, I can only choose option number 3 here by applying the verbs of perception rule. Okay? Therefore, my answer for question 4 would be number 3. Moving on. Question 5 goes, they already finished the project dash day, the teacher asked. Over here, we are interested in question tag. Okay? The one and only keyword I'm interested in is this. So we need to ask ourselves, what is the long form of they've? They have. Okay? So this is already in the positive connotation. And for question tag, I need negative connotation at the back. So I only have one answer. Haven't. Okay, so very good. Zap 1. That's the answer. Alright, I just give everyone some time to take in the information I've just shared before we move on to the next section. Alright? And if there are any questions, please feel free to ask them in the chat. Thank you. All right. Moving on, we have question 6. He dashed on his project for 2 hours when his computer crashed. So we are interested in tenses here. The first thing we need to check on is this keyword here. Okay, 2 hours. Why is my pen not working? Okay, first thing is 2 hours, which means that the action is continuous. Okay. All right. Next thing is the options given to us. Okay. So the first option is had worked. This is in past perfect. As explained earlier, past perfect means that one action occurred before the second action took place, and both must be in the past tense. The next one is have worked. Over here, we are interested in present perfect. Present perfect means that your action was completed, but your effect is still felt. Let me give you an example. I have read the news and want to know more about the incident. So in this sentence, I have read. That means you already completed the reading of the newspaper, but you want to find out more. So there's this curiosity that is still ongoing, which is the effect. And therefore, we will use present perfect in this sentence. Had been working here is in the past perfect. Continuous. This means that then the action was ongoing in the past when second action occurred. That means your first action was happening, then your second action happened. So at certain point of time, there are two actions that are ongoing together. Okay. Lastly, we have been working, which is in the present perfect continuous. Present perfect continuous basically means that the action began in the past and is still continuing now. Okay. Now let's look back at our question. You notice that the computer crashed, and this is in the past tense. So it's very obvious that we have two different actions that are ongoing. The boy is working on his project, and the computer crashed. So we're only interested in option 3 and 4 because they have this element of two actions ongoing. Okay. But if you look at it closely, the boy was working on the project continuously, even after his computer crashed. So this means that the two actions happen together at some point of time. So it could be he worked on the project at 1 p.m. At 2 p.m., his computer crashed, and we are at the present. So at 1 p.m. until now, the action is occurring. This is action number 1. At 2 p.m. when the computer crashed is the second action, and it's also occurring at the same time. So can you see here that we have this overlap of actions, and both of them are in the past. So because of this, we'll need to use option number 3, which is had been working. Okay, so very good, Zakwan and Pekbayi. Okay, so this question is slightly more difficult and requires some understanding of the different tenses. So I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information here, especially option 2, 3, and 4. Please make sure you understand them. And if you have questions, please ask them if necessary, okay? Okay, if there are no questions, let's look at question number 7 now. We need to hurry. We must hurry. If we dash our flight, we will be stranded at the airport. Mother warned us. Okay, over here we're interested in tenses. The first keyword is we. So this is plural. The second keyword that I'm interested is if. So this is a hypothetical event. That means this event hasn't happened yet. So because it's hypothetical, we will use present tense. Next, let's take a look at the options. The first one is miss, which is in present tense and for plural. Misses is for present tense and singular. We also have missed, which is in the past tense, and missing, which is in the continuous tense. Continuous tense means that the action is ongoing as you speak. All right. So we already highlighted that it's a hypothetical situation and plural. So we will use number 1. So good job, Zakwan and Pek Ba. Okay, this will be our answer. Let's go on to question 8. This is too dash luggage for me to handle. You ought to help me, protested Mary. Over here, we are interested in determiners. Determiners are your words to actually show certain quantities. Is it like too much, too little, etc.? I only have one keyword here, luggage. So luggage here is known as a collective noun. That means it is uncountable. Other collective nouns that you need to be aware are furniture, equipment. So we would always use uncountable determiners to talk about them. And if the question is regarding subject-verb agreement, it will always be singular. Okay? So let's take a look at our options. The first one is much. Much is uncountable. Many is countable. Little uncountable. Few countable. If you observe, Mary protested. That means she is complaining about the weight of the luggage. Probably it's too heavy. So we are only interested in my first two options. Then we recall that it is uncountable. So our option is number 1. Okay. So good job, Pek Bai and Zakwan. But let me just digress a bit and ask everybody. If I change this to pieces of luggage, would my answer still be much? Or would it change? Okay, so we are trying to be exam smart here. We are identifying the different ways the examiner can test you. If I change the question to there are 2 dash pieces of luggage, my answer would be number 2, too many pieces of luggage. Because pieces here means that I'm able to count the luggage, the object in front of me. All right. So if I have the word pieces in my question, then the answer would be many. Okay, I repeat again. If there are pieces of luggage, it will be many. But if I just say luggage generally, then the answer will be much. Why is it so? Because we are looking at collective noun. Luggage is collective noun. But when I say pieces of luggage, I can count them. So it will be not a collective noun. Okay? Moving on. So dancing the rain. I hope I answered your question. Susan Dash be traveling to Australia for an overseas exchange program next week. She cannot wait to try the local food. Over here, we are interested in modal auxiliary verbs. These are basically words like your may, could, should, must, and so on. Okay, so let's take a look at some keywords first. Traveling to Australia for overseas exchange next week. So over here, we are looking at a future event. It's already confirmed next week, right? So let's take a look at my options. Will is used to express a future event. Can is used for ability. I can lift the weights. That means I'm showing people that that I have certain level of strength. Could is used to make offer. Could you please open the door? So I'm asking for a favor. Would is used to offer advice. I would not talk to the stranger if I were you. Okay? So in this case, because we want to express this future event that Susan is traveling, our answer is very clear. Number one. So very good. EXO. Who else do we have? Zakwan also. Okay, good job. All right. Moving on. We have question 10 now. Have you discovered what the cause of yesterday's power failures dash? Ask Janine. Over here, we're interested in your subject verb agreement. Let's take a look at the keywords. Cause of yesterday's. The cause here is singular. Yesterday is past tense. When we have past tense, we only have was and were. And because it is singular, we narrow it down further to was. Okay, and that will be our answer. So good job, Zakwan and Axel. All right, before I continue, I just give everyone some time to take in the information I just shared. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the chat section. Okay, if there are no further questions, let's take a look at vocabulary now. Question 11. I did not expect the new phone to be so dash. It survived the fall from the third floor. So I'm interested in this phrase here. It shows that the phone is very durable. That means it doesn't spoil easily. Looking at my options, we have steady, which means something is firmly fixed and it's not shaking. For example, if I drill nails to secure the bench on a cruise ship, even though the ship may be rocking in the storm, the bench is steady because it's not moving. Next, you have sturdy with a UR. Sturdy means that something is strongly built. So something is not broken easily. Okay? Then we have stable. Stable means unlikely to give way or overturn. Lastly, we have steely. Steely means something is very hard, like steel. So we will usually say someone has steely determination. That means that the person is very resilient. He does not give up when faced with problems. Okay, like the how steel doesn't break or crack easily. So back to the question, we're interested in this phone that can survive the fall and is durable and it's not spoiled easily. So our option is sturdy. Our answer is sturdy. Okay, number 2. Because it has that same meaning. So very good job, EXO and Zakwan. Thanks for following so far. Our friends who know the answer, please also type them in the chat. Okay. Okay, If there are no further questions, let's look at question 12 now. The gentleman was dash embarrassed when he realized he had entered the female toilet by mistake. So over here, you can see that his mistake is quite serious. All right, because he went to the wrong toilet. And we are looking at embarrassed. So we're trying to show that he was very, very embarrassed, to show a very high extent. Okay. First, we have utterly. Utterly means completely, 100%, or absolutely. Next, we have entirely. Entirely is used to show parts of a whole. So we want to say the entire auditorium clap hands. That means there isn't this small fraction who didn't clap hands, but we're looking at the whole pie. So there needs to be some diagram to visualize. Then we use entire. Okay. Significantly means something is sufficiently great or important to be worthy of attention. That's why we'll say it's a significant mistake. That means this kind of mistake will attract a lot of people to look and judge. Next, we have extensive, which means cover a large area. So usually we will talk about how the wildfire caused extensive damage. That means a large portion of the forest was affected by the wildfire. Okay, so back to our question, we're interested to see how somebody was very, very embarrassed, 100% embarrassed. Then the answer will be utterly. Okay, so it will be option number 1. So good job, Jen. All right, let's go on to question 13 now. Mr. Lim dashed the role of president of the company after his uncle, the former president, had retired. Over here, we're interested in role of president. So, and the other one is former president retire, which is basically Mr. Lim taking on this appointment. It's a formal role. Okay. So let's take a look. We have subsume. Subsume means you include somebody as part of the larger group or plan. So it can be somebody or it can be something. Okay. So for example, I can say that taking the airplane can be subsumed as traveling for our next holiday. So that means we are just looking to classify one item with something else. Next, we have presume. Presume means you assume something is the case based on probability. The keyword is based on probability. So for example, if the aeroplane never land at the airport, even though it is expected to land, and maybe we are looking at the aeroplane hasn't arrived after 2 days, then a very high probability is the aeroplane may have encountered an accident midway through the flight. Then we'll say the people are presumed to be victims of an air accident. Okay. Next one is assume. Assume here means that you take responsibility for a role. Okay. And last one is resume. Resume means you continue after interruption. All right. So over here, we're looking at how Mr. Lim was appointed this role after the former president has retired. That means he don't want to take this role anymore. So this means that someone is taking responsibility because the role of a president is very important. It's a formal role. Okay, so our answer would be assumed. So very good, Jen and Axel. Now moving on, let's take a look at question 14. Felicia watched in dash as the magician performed the trick. She had never met anyone as talented as him. Over here, we're interested in how the magician performed a trick. So all these magicians usually perform something that is shocking and something that you will not believe that it is true, right? So let's take a look at the options. First one is uncertainty. So uncertainty means something is unknown. Trepidation means you are very scared, you are in fear, or you are in anxiety. Confusion means that you are unsure what is happening. Lastly, disbelief means that you refuse to accept something is real. So in this case, the magician performed a trick that is so shocking. Probably the author Felicia may say, "No way, this is not what I expect to happen." So our answer would be she was in disbelief. Okay, it's that state of shock. So it will be number 4. So very good job, Axel and Zakwan. Thanks for following so far. Jen also. Okay, that's great. Okay, the last question we have here is 15. The firefighters had to dash the door of the function room to rescue the trapped children inside. So the first thing we need to take note is you are doing something to the door. The next thing is you need to rescue someone who is trapped inside. So this door probably is locked. You cannot open. Okay. So first one is you want to break in. Break in means you had a forced entry into the building. So usually we'll say the burglar broke into the building because you are entering the building by force without the keys. Next, you have break out. Break out means something is undesirable that happens suddenly. So for example, you can say that a fire or the haze situation or COVID-19 broke out in Singapore. That means such a dangerous circumstance suddenly happened. Right? Then we have a breakdown. Breakdown here means that you enter a place forcibly. Let's break into, okay? And lastly, we have breakdown. Breakdown means you divide something into smaller parts. So let me just emphasize. For break in and break into, they have a very similar meaning. Breakdown also has this idea of force, F-O-R-C-E, right? But my main focus for number 4 is to talk about the smaller parts. That means I'm interested in highlighting that in order to force my way into somewhere, I remove the obstacle in small parts. And this is actually how the firefighters will actually, that's what they will do to the door of the function room. Because we are not forcing the entry for illegal actions. We are trying to do something that is to save their lives, right? So our answer would be number 4. Okay, so very good. I see more and more of our friends helping us. Me, Exo, and Gaia, Triri. Okay, yes. So it will be number 4. You need to break down the door to rescue the children. All right. So I just give everyone some time to take in the information just shared before we move on to the next section. All right. If you have questions, please feel free to ask them. All right. If there are no further questions, let's take a look at this vocab close part. All right. So what will happen is I will read the vocab close first, and we will understand the words that they are testing us. Once we are clear of the meanings, then we will go through all the options and learn from them. Okay? So the text goes: donning a yellow helmet and safety boots, Zheng Nian paved cement on the roof of yet another skyscraper. He recalled how he left his hometown for the city with a heavy heart. So record here means that you bring back an event from memory. So this event happened already. Then you are just trying to recall, which is basically you're trying to think about the incident that happened. Okay? With a heavy heart. This basically means that you are sad or miserable. Okay, let's go on. The sun shone angrily down his back as cold sweat broke his slightly burned skin. So over here, we are looking at how you are hurt by fire slightly. Okay? He peeked to see how high he was from the ground. To be exact means uh, there is a precise answer. To be exact, 40 stories. What an ironic situation it was, he thought. Situation here means the circumstance one finds himself in. Okay? So, with that in mind, let's take a look at the options. Question 16 basically means that you think of something that happened in the past. Let's take a look at option 1. Deliberated about. Deliberated here means that you think about something very carefully. Wondered about means that you desire to know something. Okay, very good. Thank you everyone for giving the answer. Just give, just be patient as I explain them word by word. Okay. Recollected means that you remember something from memory. That means you think about it. After then you just recall and you just reflect upon what happened in the past. Then we have speculated, which is that you form theory without evidence. So you're just trying to think that something happened in a particular way. So the closest to how you want to recall is you recollect, which is option number 3. So very good, EXO or Zakwan, yes, Jen also, and Gayatri. The answer is 3. Next, we have with a heavy heart, which means you are very sad or you are miserable. So let's take a look at my options. Dispiritedly means that you have no hope about a particular situation. Dejectedly means that you are sad or depressed. Regretfully means that you have a non-accepting attitude. Wearily means that you are very tired. So in this case, we're interested in being sad. So the correct answer would be dejectedly, number 2. Okay, we also have sad here. So very good, everybody. That's our answer. Okay, let's take a look at question 18. Slightly burned, which means that you probably are injured by the fire slightly. So just follow me closely on this because this is quite tricky. The first one is tan. Tan basically means you have brown skin due to sun exposure. That means you were you were in the beach for the whole day, or you are just sun tanning, then you have brown skin. Charred means burnt, and this one usually means burnt badly. Okay, we have parched. Parched means that something is dried out due to heat. So there isn't any element of injury. Lastly, we have scorched. Scorched means to be slightly hurt or burnt by fire. And the keyword is slightly. That means it's not like very, very bad burns, right? So in this case, because we are interested in that small extent of injury, the closest we have is number 4, scorched. Okay? Yeah, please take note, everybody. The answer is 4. You are slightly scorched by the fire. Now, moving on, we have question 19 here. To be exact. Exact means you are very precise. That means there isn't any rounding up or rounding down. It's just that number. So first is we have clear. Clear means something is easy to understand. So there isn't anything related to numbers. It's just whether you understand or you don't understand. So it's clear or unclear. Direct here means that you move in one direction without changing course. So over here, we're just interested in movement. Precise here means something is exact or very accurate. Okay. Lastly, we have accurate. Accurate basically means free from mistakes. Can you see the difference? When we talk about accuracy, we are just looking at how something doesn't have mistakes. But when we talk about precise, we are looking at how something is exact. That means there is no rounding up or down or estimation. So because over here we are interested in to be exact, and my exact here is 40 stories. So there is something related to numbers here. I'm counting, right? My closest answer would be precise, which means I counted 40 stories and it is the most careful and correct answer, exact answer. Okay, that's why it will be number 3. No, question 19 cannot be 4 because accurate means is free from mistakes. And if you look at the context of the question, it's not that I'm very exact in measuring my the amount of water in my cup, or I'm measuring some for some science experiment. All right. Over here, I'm just counting the number of levels in a building, and there cannot be any rounding up or rounding down because the building itself is just either 1, 2, there's no 1.5, right? So this means that you are precise. Okay. So our friends who are taking exam, can you see over here? There's a very similar idea for option 3 and option 4. And this may happen for some of your vocabulary questions. So the idea is you need to look at the context of the text. So you need to look at the sentence before and after. What is it talking about? And for the tested word, what is it describing inside this sentence before and after? When you ask yourself this question and you understand the context in which this tested word is being used, that's where you are able to give the most precise answer. Now can you see where I'm coming from? And that's what we want when we do vocabulary. It's about the most precise answer. The examiner can give you similar answers, but you need to ask yourself which one is the best answer. Okay? All right, let's take a look at question 20. Situation. Situation is basically the kind of circumstance that you find yourself in. It's like at your environment, the people you meet, yeah, these kind of things. So first one, we have episode. Episode is a single event. Okay. Next is scenario. Scenario means possible actions or future events. Can you see here? There's a word possible. That means something hasn't happened yet. Occasion is basically a particular time after something happened. Can you see here? Occasion has this characteristic of after something happened. That means for my context, I need event 1 first. Then my event 2 is considered occasion. Lastly, we have circumstance. Circumstance here basically means a situation that one finds himself in. So let's go back to the text again and look at the context. What an ironic situation it was, he thought. Can you see here? The ironic is one situation. So it's just one event. Okay? And it is not just an event, but something that the author can feel with his 5 senses. He's surrounded and he had this thought. So the most accurate answer would be number 4, because it's not only a situation, the situation is something that you can experience. And this experiential part is what differentiates it from an episode. An episode can be you as a third party grouping some events that other people experience, not yourself. Okay, so let me just take note, may not be experienced by yourself, by the main character. But in this case, we're looking at how the construction worker experienced this whole situation himself. He finds himself in. That's the key word and the differentiating part between option 4 and option 1. So my answer would be option 4. Okay? So very good, Zakwan and Axel. Okay, I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information I've just shared for vocab close first. As you can see, this is not a very straightforward text, but it is of great learning value for everyone today. All right. Yes, correct. Gayatri, the answer for question 20 is 4. All right. If there are no further questions, then we'll move on to our grammar close. Okay. I hope everyone is following so far. If anyone has questions, please type them in the comment section. Then we would answer them as soon as possible. All right, let's take a look at our grammar close here. Ants are social insects. They live together organized communities called colonies. So we are interested in how the location they live in is called an ant colony. Communities is where I derive this idea of location. So when we want to talk about how people live somewhere, we will say live in a location. Okay? There are more than 10,000 different species of ants. There's certain times of the year, many species produce winged males and queens solely dash the purpose of mating. Okay, over here, we are looking at how the ants have certain activity. They produce these male and females, and this is very time specific. Only, for example, certain months, certain days, then the winged males and queens would be produced. Okay, so when we want to talk about this specific time, if we are pointing at something, we will use at a particular time. Okay, so at certain times of the year, something will happen. And you can see here, they produce the winged male and queens, and they're trying to link this fact here with your purpose. So this is like your elaboration for question 31. So if you want to elaborate, we will say for something. The males and queens fly to mate, after which the males die. Dashed queen then lays eggs and establishes a new nest. So you can see here that we have lays, establishes. These are in singular form. So we need to ask ourselves, this question 32 here actually tells you that everything's in singular form. And the only word inside all these options here that allow you to have singular is each. Because each tells you every single one or something. Alright? Most types of ants live in nests that they make many different materials. So we are looking here at the type of materials that form the nest. So we will say you make up of, okay, which is question 33 My answer would be H. Made from. Either you make from or you make of. Okay. So basically, all these materials here are my sources, my resources to make the nest. Okay. Dash ends build ant hills. So over here, we are looking at how the nest can be made of all these special materials, or specific types of ants may do ant hill, which is basically made of just one type of material that is just all the soil accumulate to become a big hump on the ground. So we will say some, because this is just talking about some exceptions. Within each nest, there's different types of ants. So over here, we can see ants is in plural. So there are different types of ants. Okay? They list it out for you. Queen, worker, soldier, ants. And the queen will spend her life laying eggs. Worker are smaller female which perform tasks such as gathering food, clearing the nest, dash caring for eggs. So over here you can see that there are three different activities of similar idea. As such, we will use D, N. Okay? Question 37 goes, ants dash warlike behavior and different methods of defense. So over here we are looking at how ants are. Over here is plural, and we are looking at the interesting characteristics, which are they can defend themselves using different ways, and they behave like soldiers. So you want to show these characteristics for plural element, we will say have. Ants have the warlike behavior and different methods of defense. Okay, so they give you examples. They bite, spit out unpleasant liquid, others flee dash under attack. So over here we're interested in a particular situation where they flee. Okay, which is when they are under attack, because I'm showing this particular situation, a particular event of sorts. Okay, so with that, we have come to the end of grammar close. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information I've just shared before we move on to editing. Does anyone have any questions? If you have questions, please feel free to ask them. All right, let's go on to editing now. Elite virtual archers, race car drivers, and other esports gamers gather in Singapore for the first ever Olympic Esports Week this year. There dash an opening ceremony before the athletes got down to action. Okay, you can see here that the Esports Week this year, and this report probably happened after the Esports Week. So we are looking at past tense. Got down. So this one cheered. These are already clues to tell you that it is in past tense. So it will be there was. We'll change this to was because there's a word and here which tells you there is a singular thing. Singular and past tense. Okay, athletes is spelled this way. Take note. Variety of commercial video games. It's also a spelling error. Okay, here is excitement, because we are looking at a noun. So we will change the word form from excite to excitement. So it's a verb to noun change. So thanks Zakwan for following. Representing Singapore was City Jiwi competing dash a contest known as Just Dance. So when you compete, this is a particular category. The category is called Just Dance. So you'll compete in a category. Okay, good job, Zakwan. Known as just she won points dash matching the choreographed moves of an electronic dancer. So we are looking at how she won the points. This is a method. So it is, you always won points by. Okay. Electronic is spelled wrongly on the screen, and dash extra credits from the judges for expression and style. Remember, we are talking about past tense. One. So over here, it needs to be she earned extra points. All right. And her expression is spelled this way. All right, everybody, please take note. The Olympic Esports Week is a drive to remain relevant to young people. Relevant is spelled this way. And embrace advances in technology. You can see over here there are a lot of spelling mistakes, like friendship, respect, and excellence. Excellent here is an adjective. So I want to change it to a noun, which will be spelled this way. Okay. So 10 sports were featured with 131 players from over 60 countries. Yeah, that's all. Okay, thank you, Axel and Zakwan, for following me closely. So before we move on, just like to sum up editing by introducing the 3 types of question your examiner can test you this week. The first one is spelling. It's quite straightforward. So I just want to draw your attention to these few words. There's a trend. Fulfill, fulfilled, fulfillment. So this is my present, my past tense, and my noun. If you observe, fulfill and commit both have single L, single T. But we talk about past tense, it will be double L, double T, fulfilled, committed. And when we look at a noun, it will be single again. Okay, so just take note of this trend. The next thing that we're interested in is grammar. Grammar, usually the challenging ones are your prepositions. So you need to understand when you use on, for, by, these kind of things. So a rule of thumb is you need to understand when you use by. So by is for source. For is for elaboration. You need to understand these users. Okay, this is the main idea. Users of your preposition. Next one is your word form. For your word form, you need to talk about how a verb changes to a noun and how an adjective changes to a noun. All right. So your verb to a noun can be as straightforward as behave and behavior. Your adjective can be lazy to laziness. So in this test paper, the examiner only wants you to change from verb and adjective to noun. But it is also possible that they give you the noun and they ask you to convert it back to the verb. Okay? But usually it will be changing verb to noun because the word form for noun will change and it is more challenging. So the next question is, how do we prepare for all these kind of questions? Well, I think for word form, this comes with practice. I mean, there are thousands of words on the dictionary, in the dictionary, but they're not going to test you everything. So we are looking at trend spotting. I think that's the importance when you study for your paper 2, study smart. These trends can be easily spotted when you do your 3-year series for PSLE, and also when you do other school exam papers. There are trends that will repeat themselves over and over again. There are certain words the teachers like to test, right? Like this few that I just shared here. This you can start by looking into memorizing all these. All right. Okay, if there are no, okay, I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information first. Then we'll look at your comprehension close. All right. Okay, let's go on to our comprehension close here. Okay. Remember when fidget spinners were all the rage a few years ago? Well, now you have got the Lato Lato. Love it or dash, this toy craze is literally in full swing in Singapore. So the first question here is rather straightforward because there isn't an alternative answer. Love it or not. Okay. Oh, sorry. Love it. Sorry, there's a it at the back. So love it or hate it. So how do I know it's hate? It's because of the or here, which means I need the alternative emotions. So it's like your opposite emotions, love and hate. All right. Comprising 2 plastic balls dashed by a string, the toy has now become infamous for the clacking sound it dashed when it is swung up and down. So over here, we are looking at how the 2 plastic balls here and the string are connected to one another, right? So you can say that they are joined by a string. Or you also can say secured by a string. All right. The next thing is infamous for the infamous means tied. Okay, picked by E, tied. When the 2 plastic balls are tied by a string. No, it's not that the string tied. Okay, connected, accepted. You cannot say it's tied by a string because we are not interested in your 2 balls here being tied together by that string. We're interested in that 2 balls and your toy is something like that, right? You're interested in how the balls are connected to the string together like that. So tied is only this action here, but not my whole string. So it's not accepted. Okay? Held by a string. No, cannot be held. Held is too general. The ball is held to the string because it is connected. I need to have this idea that the 2 plastic ball as well as the string are one piece together. Okay? Alright, so let's go on. Infamous for the clacking, okay, clacking sound. The sound is produced. Okay, but take note is it, so it's singular. When it is swung up and down. The general rule of play among friends is that the dash who maintains the clacking rhythm the longest wins. Okay, it makes also can. I accept. Cannot be made. Okay, because over here is present tense. It has. This is present tense. Okay. Yep, noble blade. The dash who maintains the clacking rhythm the longest wins. So you can see here maintain. So you're just looking at one person. The person just need to be a singular noun here. Okay. The okay. The individual also can. With Lato Lato dash the hearts of youngsters, let us take a quick look at its history as well as some interesting dash about the toy. So over here you are looking at how you do something to the hearts. Yes, you can say winning the hearts. So you can say captivating the hearts. Basically, you are looking at how the Lato Lato attracts people. Okay, this idea of attracting, then will any answer that talks about this attraction and has uh is able to pair up with hearts will be accepted. Okay, moving on to 56. Take a quick look at history as well as some interesting dash about the toy. So when we look at history, we are looking at facts. Okay, so these two words are linked together. Attacks. The name attacks. I don't get attacks. Attacks the hearts. You cannot attack the heart. Okay. Okay, I'm looking at question 57 now. The name Lato Lato is said to have been dashed from the Bugis word Lato Lato, which dash making cracking sounds. First thing is here is the word from. So this is my source. So what do I do from my source? Usually I'll say I derive something from my source. Okay. And over here you can see is it gives me a definition. So I will say which means making clacking sounds. Okay, originated I also accept. Thank you, Chloe. It's a good answer. A common dash about Lato Lato is that it comes from Indonesia. The toy actually originated in the United States when it's called clackers. Okay. A common myth can. Another word is misconception. All right. To address who is this? Noble Blade 2211. For question 58 cannot be is because I want to tell everybody that this is the meaning, which is something is too vague already. Okay. The original clackers in the 1960s and 70s were made with dash tempered glass or acrylic. Okay, over here you can see an or. So this tells me is we have alternatives here. Made with either or. Okay, this is two words that need to come together when we express them. All right. This meant that the balls would occasionally shatter and dash shards flying in all directions when hit. So usually when we talk about shards, we'll send the shards flying. Or you can say it caused the shards flying in all directions. Oh, sorry, cause cannot send. Okay. As more and more children got dashed from playing with clackers, the US Food and Drug Administration established new safety standards. So previously, we talked about how the glass shards will fly, which means that it poses safety hazard. So when more children got injured while playing, okay, as a dash, clackers were removed from the American stores. So over here, we're looking at how there were injuries and my effect. So I want to link them together. I'll say as a result. Okay. Got hurt. Okay, hurt also can. Hurt is a bit informal. That's why we use injured. But both answers would suffice. Okay, both answers accepted. Of course, these days, the lato is made with modern plastics. They are less prone to dash. So over here, you are prone. We talk about how the balls will shatter the thing. So now they are less prone to breaking. Okay. While Lato's toys are dashed from just $3.50, vintage clackers can cost as much as $90. So you can see here we're interested in the price. So when we have price, we will say they are sold from just $3.50. Okay, also can say price accepted. Okay, that's all for complete close. I just give everyone some time to take in the information just shared. It's very good that everybody have a lot of alternative answers. That's what we are looking for when we do complete close. Okay, it's not about getting that particular answer the answer key gives. It's about that thought process that links you to the answer, because your complete close will change all the time, but that thinking process to get the answer doesn't change, and that's the more important thing you should practice. So how do we generate that thinking process? It's about identifying the keywords and trying to link your keywords along with the vocab you have in your brain to the answer. Okay, and that's what makes every complete close practice effective. Okay, let's go to the last section that I'm going to go through. Synthesis and transformation. Question 66. Kumar saved diligently. He wanted to afford his dream vacation. So you can see there is a cause and an effect. The cause is he wants to afford his dream vacation, and the effect is he saved diligently. So when we have so as to, we always have my effect first, then my cause. Okay, so it will be Kumar saved diligently so as to afford his dream vacation. Yes, good job, Axel. Next thing, Shafiq was annoyed. His brother refused to lower the volume of the radio. So over here, we're interested in the word form, right? Refuse, we need to change this verb to become a noun. So it will be by his brother's refusal to lower the volume of the radio. So just take note of this change in word form. All right, next is question 68. Why were you not in school yesterday? My teacher asked me. So we're interested in reported speech question here. So the three actions that we need to do: highlight, edit, and write. So first thing is you, yesterday, and were. So you will be why ask me why I had not the previous day. So it will be my teacher asked me why I had not been in school the previous day. Just take note. When we have were, we need to change it to the participle form. So it will be is, are, was, were, had been. So what happens when we do reported speech question is we'll move the time period back by 1. So because we are interested in past tense changed to participle tense, it will be this movement. Okay, so just take note, everybody. Okay, question 69 reads, Susan would rather stay home during the holidays than go out with her friends. So which one is the favorite activity? Stay at home. Go out with her friends is option 2. So when we have the word prefers, the first thing is to write the twinny, which is 2. So we'll have our number 1 action first compared to our number 2. So Susan prefers staying at home to going out with her friends during the holidays. All right, that will be our answer. Yes, very good, Axel. Thank you for following. So let's look at the last question now. Sarah can watch television if she finishes her homework. So over here, we need to identify when we have unless, we need to identify criteria and the effect. So the criteria needs to be fulfilled first, then the effect can happen. So in this case, my criteria is you need to finish the homework. So unless Sarah finishes her homework, she cannot, take note, watch television. So there must always be one positive and one negative connotation. All right. But my advice to you is to keep it simple. The first part must always have the positive connotation. So please don't tell me unless Sarah did not finish her homework, she can watch television. Okay? It is a bit difficult for the marker to understand. And therefore, it is more difficult to get the marks. So to make things easier for everybody, the positive connotation will always be before your comma. At the same time, you need to remember to change the subsequent portion to negative connotation. Okay? With that, we have come to the end of our red swastika paper for 2023. Okay? So the next paper we'll be going through will be let's see what we have. Oh, Rosyth Primary School paper. And that will be at that will be in a bit. Okay, in 4:45 p.m. So once again, thanks for joining me on TikTok. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. If not, I'll see everybody in a bit. Bye bye.